at all that money, yeah, the money that they spent. Take another look now and take some time for hemp. I don't cut trees for paper, cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yeah, it's time for hemp. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 barrels of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, right now it's time for hemp.
Thank you for taking time for hemp. I'm your host, Casper-Leitch. You are listening to the live broadcast of Time for Hemp. Oh, no, that's right. We're not live anymore. Golly. Surprise, people. That's why we were on hiatus last week. I think some of you noticed a couple of things. Those of you who tune in on a regular basis. One, when you tuned in, you might have been saying to yourself, have I heard this show before? Maybe you had. And some of you were also saying, wait a minute, I don't have to refresh my browser at the end of every broadcast. Hey, this is cool. What's going on? And we're going to be talking about those changes and the release of the new zine this month with my joint host, Al Graham. Good morning, Al.
Hello, Casper. How are you?
Fine, thank you. And happy Tuesday. I want to tell you it's just awesome to be part of the world today. I want to thank you for being on the big broadcast.
Hey, and we would like to thank you for taking Tuesdays in order to highlight Canadian cannabis advocates up here in Canada.
Well, it's quite an honor. I can tell you that long before I met Jack Hare, we were aware that the Canadians were smarter than a lot of the Americans, at least in our Congress and our Senate, because not only did you have good health care, but you started to create hemp products, which we thought was just revolutionary, my golly. And then your government even was so kind to even underwrite the cost of some of the hemp farming, and then later help underwrite the cost of advertising your hemp goods all around the world. And that kind of gave us indication that the Canadians and the Canadian government were leading the way into ending prohibition. Well, I think Canadians are, but I think your Canadian government's full of ass clowns, personally.
Yeah, the governments do change over time, and right now we're seeing this government that promotes a lot of the oil industry and pipelines and gas lines and stuff like that for that market. So yeah, in the past there was a big lots of promotion for the hemp products, and they were helping out farmers and stuff. And on the Pace Radio show, we had a hemp farmer on as a guest one show, and he talked about what's it like to become a hemp farmer and what it takes in order to the hoops and the jumps and things that you got to go through. And he's growing hemp.
Well, your government started taking a few steps backwards too. About 6 years ago, when this new parliament started cracking down on medical cannabis, and then it doesn't seem to be as appreciative of the multi-billion-dollar industry that the hemp plant is bringing to it as well.
No, they're more geared towards the oil industry. Oil is a byproduct of a lot of things that we purchase, and even in things that we swallow. And some people say he's got them in his back pocket, and he promotes that. And unfortunately, the cannabis plant has had to take a back seat in the hemp plant. And let's hope that come 2015 that we can make a change in government. A recent survey that was out from ISPO Read, I believe, showed that our government is going in the wrong direction.
Well, now, is this some of the things that you talk about when you do your radio show on the
We get the news. I'll bring up a news article, a couple of them at the beginning of the show, and we'll discuss them with my joint host, one of my joint hosts. And we'll review that for a few minutes before we bring the guests on. And I know that very shortly on our next show, I will be bringing up that episode read poll that shows almost 71% of the people in Canada want the marijuana laws to be relaxed. And only about 25% actually support the existing policy or one of a harsher, situation. So we try to highlight whatever news that I see online that's being active or creating a lot of news and bring that to the people.
Well, and what time is are your new shows released on the network each week?
Yep, our shows are Monday and Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have 5 joint hosts who join me on a rotating basis. That would be Keith Fagan. He's with Calgary 420, Normal Canada, Herb for Herb. Debbie Stoltz-Giffen, she's in the East Coast, and she's with Maritimers United for Marijuana, which is MUMS. Stephen Ferenya, he's in British Columbia, and he's actually going back to school right now to do some more training on his education in order to further his career. Owen Smith, he is with Cannabis Digest. He does gets interesting guests and talks about the science and everything behind cannabis. And then finally, there's Chantel Oriol, who comes from Quebec, and she'll get a guest based out of Quebec usually, and we'll talk to her about what's happening in that scene. She's also a singer in a band that's very popular in Quebec, and she's doing a lot of recording over the summer, so she's just taking a little bit of time off in order to do that, and she tells me she will be back soon.
Well, that's groovy.
Yeah, well, it allows us to cover the whole country from coast to coast, and to get advocates. Whether there's advocates in New Brunswick or Nova Scotia, where Debbie is, where I would never know of, and she's been able to bring them on the show. Or actually, she got the Green Party leader from Nova Scotia, John Percy, in order to come on and talked about the Green Party. So it's nice to be able to get a political leader of a province to be able to come and talk to us.
Well, you bring a lot of good quality programming to the network, and it's nice to see that you have a good team of people there who are as enthusiastic about ending the prohibition laws as you are. How did you get lucky enough to stumble across such a great team of people?
Well, just from being involved in the cannabis community, these people I didn't... let's see, for example, Keith Fagan I had met, and that was it. Out of all the people, out of the 5 joint hosts, I had only met Keith Fagan. And when Casper, when you gave me the opportunity, you phoned me that day and asked me if I'd be interested to have a program on your network. I just basically reached out to these people because I had heard of them or known them, not from seeing them online. I knew of their advocacy work, but didn't know them personally. So I wrote them, told them what what was offered, and what was the possibility of this, and they all agreed. It was there was no question. They were interested. We talked online, and things have blossomed from there. As far as the guests, I owe a big thank you to them. That's one of the things that I asked them to do is find guests for the show. And they've done a wonderful job doing that. We've had some people that are well known, and then we get the people who aren't well known, but people who are making a difference with their voice, and that's all that matters.
Caught me smoking.
Oh yeah. That happens. But no, it's been a fantastic opportunity. In the past, I was involved in a 90-second segment doing cannabis news on a local radio station in a city called Belleville, and it was on terrestrial radio, so I was able to get out to the public that way. So getting into this sort of, it brings me back to that and allows me to expand and keep talking to people out there that are listening, and myself as well as my joint hosts. That's what they want. They want to be able to share their stories or share the stories of the guests and spread the word about cannabis and highlight people for their efforts.
And much to our chagrin, or for those people who are under the age of 30, much to our surprise, because chagrin, I think, is a word that came out of the 1600s and only us old people still use. This little project that we have going here, known as the Time for Hemp Global Broadcasting Network, ended up lending you the opportunity to get back into writing and magazine layout and all that groovy stuff too, didn't it?
It sure did, Casper. You know, as you mentioned, I was writing. I wrote for Treating Yourself magazine for almost 8 years. I had over 100 articles published, and yet again, while writing with them, it was all about educating people and sharing those experiences through the writings. And because of working with Marco with that, it allowed me to have a bit of self-taught training on what happens. And so I decided that when you contacted and said, hey, let's you enjoyed writing, you enjoyed doing TY, and a lot of people miss TY. Are you interested in doing this new zine for Time for Hemp? I thought about it for 24 hours. Right off the bat, I said yes. Of course, the next 24 hours went, boy, what did I get into? Is this much larger than what I can even, handle or do or anything? And then I thought, well, hey, all I can do is give it a try. And I contacted my friend, Lisa Weingarten, who's been involved in layouts and doing printing for over 20 years. And she agreed to get involved in it. So between the two of us, we're working together to get out something that has a lot of news as well as information like articles or blogs that people can read. And yet again, it's about sharing the information. And, we don't have like a staff of writers, but what we do is we share the news articles that other people are sharing online, and we turn it into, print.
Well, and there's articles in there too about the host on our network.
Sure, yeah. I've got on there. There's let's see, I just got a whole list there. Sharing the blogs that I mentioned. It's all set up like a magazine. We even have a QR code on the front cover so you can scan it with your smartphone.
Awesome.
We have, like I mentioned, articles on legalization. There's at least 15 articles there. There's at least 10 articles on health and how cannabis can help us. Another half dozen articles on hemp news that's going on. And all this news is all global news. From the UK, Germany, Canada, the US, Tasmania, and Lebanon, different countries from all around the world. We have recipes in there, such as pizza, even cannabis jello shooters, whipping, whipping cream, even cannabis whipping cream. And that comes a lot to a website that I found called cannabischef.com, and I've been going through some of the recipes there, so I like to shout that website out to them because they've got some fantastic recipes, and I'm going to be going back there more. We've highlighted a prisoner of war in this latest issue that's just out. The recent blog by Mark Emery, the last blog that he did while he was in jail.
Okay.
In past issues, we've been doing patient profiles, and we'll probably be rotating that back and forth, or a couple of each, and sharing that. Sharing the space there for that. Researchers. We've had Dr. Lester Grinspoon, some information on him. Dr. Robert Melmamine, Dr. David Behrman, and there'll be more down the road as each issue comes out. We're going to be highlighting a researcher, and all this information on the online version, you can just click on it and you go. It's linked, so you can go right to it, and you can see the full articles, or you can see the recipe if you want more recipes, all that stuff. It's all linked, so it's interactive. What else? Oh, we got a cartoon called The Bud. It's by Gary Edmond. It's
Gary does a nice job on that too, doesn't he?
Pardon me?
Gary does a real nice job.
Yes,
on
he
that
does. He does. He does a fantastic job on it. And when you read it online in the newszine, you can click on it and go right to his website, and you can see more of his cartoons and
nice.
Artwork.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well,
So we'd like to throw a shout out with him for his efforts.
Things that people need to be aware of too about this wonderful zine that you're working on is that it's forever growing. It first started out to be like an in-house newsletter just to the host, and then you and Lisa took hold of it and turned it into a global online magazine that people can print out. It looks beautiful too when it's printed, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And talking about printing, what we've done is we make 2 copies of it. We make one about 5 megs in size so that people can look at it on their smartphones, and it doesn't make it too large. And then we have a booklet version that people will be able to download and take to a printer, like a large professional printer. I don't know if a little homemade printer would handle it. You'd have to see if you have a booklet option. I just go to the printer here where I live. I give it to them. Example, what I did the other day, I said, hey, can you print me off 50 copies of this? And they said, sure. So they printed it off. I went back a couple hours later, picked them up, and I've already got them delivered to stores in my neighborhood. And then that way customers can come in and grab them for free right off the store shelf.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah. That's a great way of getting the message out and letting people know how important it is to end prohibition, dude. That's fantastic.
Yeah, and there's some advertisers, the people who supporting it are in there, so people can click on their websites, or they'll see it in the printout version. But yeah, when it's printed out, like I'm sitting here right now looking at one, and it's just like a magazine. While I was with Treating Yourself, I was delivering magazines to stores in the neighborhood who don't normally carry magazines, and they had customer base that would come in and constantly every month and looking for the next issue. So last month, when we put out issue 2 of Joint Conversations, I had it in one store and had some copies in there, and I went in with issue 3, and I looked, and they were all gone. And I said, "Oh, they're gone. How'd they make out?" He says they were gone just in within a day or 2. They were gone, and then I noticed he took half of the pile that I gave him. He put them off to the side. He said to me, he says, one of these is for me, and the rest of them are for people who have asked me to put an issue aside for them, or a copy aside for them for the next time. Yeah. So people are already requesting them to be held for them. And that's after one issue that went out to the public in the stores.
I know, and this thing turned out to be just something we put together because we thought it would be fun and informative.
Yeah. Like I said, it was just going to start out as a newsletter.
Yeah.
That's what I had pictured in my mind. And just, as things evolved and we got talking, and, Lisa and I got talking, and I was talking with you, and, I said, geez, we might be able to do what we want this to end up being as something that we're going to start with.
Yeah, exactly.
We thought, okay, we'll start as a newsletter, and we'll end up being as a web zine or a news zine, where you want, how you want to label it. And instead, we started that way, and now we're just going to keep growing and getting better, and just like anything else that starts, there's a few little things that we're going to tweak and get better as we go along.
Well, one of the things that is getting better, too, people are saying, is the network, and that's due to the new network format. And we're going to talk about that after we take a commercial break to pay our bills here at Time for Hemp.
THPN THCF Medical Clinics are the premier physicians clinic in the United States. THCF has offices all across the United States from Hawaii to Michigan. THCF Medical Clinics has helped approximately 150,000 patients obtain their medical marijuana permits to legally possess, grow, and use medical marijuana. If you have chronic pain, multiple sclerosis, or any other neurological degenerative disease, or if you have any gastrointestinal disorders such as GERD, irritable bowel syndrome, or if you have AIDS, cancer, spastic disorders, seizure disorders, or glaucoma, call us at 1-800-723-0188 or visit us online at hemp.org. Again, the number is 1-800-723-0188 and the site is hemp.org.
As I talk to the people from New York State, I realize the need for money to deal with this problem. I am glad that in this administration we have increased the amount of money for handling the problem of dangerous drugs sevenfold. It will be $600 million this year. More money will be needed in the future. I want to say, however, that despite our budget problems, to the extent money can help in meeting the problem of dangerous drugs, it will be available. This is one area where we cannot have budget cuts because we must wage what I have called total war against public enemy number one in the United States, the problem of dangerous drugs.
Some city song. Know what you'll say? You'll say I'm all gone. I've opened my mind to this little green seed. Could help us with pollution and the economy. And this little miracle got to ascend. It's got lots of names, so hey, let's call it hemp. It's the fastest natural resource the world's ever seen. It's got 77% cellulose. It's a lot more than trees, we say. So many uses, from textiles to tents. Build your house at a lot less expense. You can burn it as a fuel to say make electricity. And it would be a lot nicer to the air that we breathe. We say top quality paper for the dollars you dream. Ropes up to medicines and the proteins we need. Paints, fabrics, varnishes is money well spent. Lincoln himself read his treaty on hemp. But you tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You say yeah that I'm too gone for you. So it's a drug with like your cigarettes, your money and your coffee and those TV sets. Alcohol maybe is the one you should fear. It kills 100,000 of you every year. In 10,000 years, no one has died of a toke. What's not very nice is that CIA coke. I know what you say, it's the devil I'm from. Would you vote me into office if I built you a bomb? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. You say yeah that I'm too gone for you. Whoopie-doo. Smuggings, rapists, killings for greed. But you'd lock me up just for growing a weed. Everyone knows that nothing makes sense. You can lie and cheat on the blind, but you cannot smoke hemp. Tell me I'm wrong. You tell me I'm wrong. You say, yeah, that I'm too gone for you. Whoopie-doo. Oh, won't you tell me I'm wrong? Tell me I'm wrong. You say, yeah, that I'm too gone for you.
Yeah, baby, I am too gone for you if you think marijuana needs to remain outlawed. Seriously, that ain't gonna happen. We are in the process of ending those stupid prohibition regulations. It's a necessity. We are looking at a tragic point in the crossroads of humanity. I kid you not. Our Earth is about ready to vomit and puke up the humans into outer space and say goodbye to us all if we don't learn to take care of it. We have polluted this planet with so many petrochemicals, so much oil, so much carbon, so much plastic, and all those creature comforts that spawned that huge pile of pollution could have all been made by utilizing this one plant known as cannabis. I kid you not. You can make clothing, plastics, food, fuel, cooking oil, dynamite, cement out of this plant. But yet, our politicians continue to lead us down a road of destruction. We are taking control over our destiny. We, as the human race, are starting to collectively stand up and say, don't tell me I'm wrong. That's my rant for my day. Thank you for putting up with that, Al Graham.
No problem, Casper. No problem. You're allowed to rant all you like. But we tell them they're wrong all the time right here on the Time for Hemp Broadcast Network, don't we? Like, tell the government they're wrong.
We do, and now we're doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, which is why last week, and if you're listening to this sometime in the future, you might be going, wait a minute, last week we heard live material, new material. We changed format. We had been broadcasting all of our shows live, but in order to give our hosts their each individual MP3 of their own broadcast, it was necessary for us to then stop broadcasting live at the end of each show and change host and change music and then bring the new host on and then start their segment, their recording. And we wanted to make sure that if we did change over to a new format, all of our hosts who worked so hard on their shows would still be able to have their individual programs featured and sponsored up and shoved up into iHeartRadio and Spreaker and iTunes and Tumblr. We had to scratch our heads and figure out what are we going to do to make that happen. And in the future, we will occasionally broadcast live. It won't happen often because there's really no need to. I mean, we don't really have call-in shows. We have a lot of recorded music. The topic of needing to end prohibition has a long shelf life because this war has been a long, ongoing tragedy. And so we have decided that individual shows will be strung together into large quantities of files. And those files can then be released on a regular, nonstop basis into a live stream, making it possible for the network to actually go live by not going live.
Yeah, you're broadcasting live, but the people aren't live.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Some of the shows may have been broadcast, may have been recorded yesterday or last week. All the programming is current when it does come
Correct.
out live. But like when you turn on the TV set, we are now making it a point to tell you each hour on our calendar. Because I was listening to a show Saturday when we were test running this thing, and we had Gatewood Galbraith on as a guest, so I knew it was old because Gatewood's been dead for 2 years.
Correct.
And we were talking about some sort of California initiative, and I kept scratching my head going, how old is this damn thing? And that's what made me decide to make it a point to do what they do on most TV channels now, just kind of list the release date of the program. And if the release date is the same date that you're watching it, then it's new, And if the release date is older than what you're watching it, then it's not.
If it says 2005, then obviously
right. But a lot of this material is still important because, like Jack Hare, when he came on the show to talk about how we turned this wonderful plant into paper, how we take the seed and turn it into oil, or when Gatewood talks about a way of making a change through legislature, or how to use your governors and your senators to change policy, or when Elvia Maseka talks about how she and the other members of the organization that was receiving medical marijuana from our United States government, being one of 4 people. That information remains current today, tomorrow, next week, next year.
That's right. It allows the people such as Jack and others that even though they've passed on, that they are still out here years later, and their voices are still being heard, and they're still spreading the word.
Exactly. And to be honest, Al, every host on this network has great material. And some people have just never had the chance to hear any of it because they're just finding us for the first time, or they don't know to go look into the archives of the bio pages. People, if you're listening to this show and finding us for the first time, go to our website. All of our hosts have bio pages that tell you all about our hosts and their backgrounds. And then attached to their bio pages are what we call the archive pages, where you can find every single one of their shows. So if there's someone on the network who you champion or particularly enjoy, you can listen to all of their past programming as well. But a lot of people are just finding us for the first time. And so even though the show might be a year old, the information is still new to them.
Correct. Exactly. Like, I know that some of our interviews that we've had, for example, Ted Smith from Cannabis Digest, he'll come on every once in a while and he'll talk about what's happening, what's been going on with at his end of the country, and how his tabloid, or sorry, his newspaper is going. But he talks about special things with cannabinoids. Same with Marcel Ganac. When we had him on, he talked about the cannabinoid system within our bodies, and so have others. So people can still listen to all those interviews and still get information and education off of people.
And they can learn from Michelle Rady how she uses
Correct.
to combat her cancer, and they can also learn from people like Mama Kind, Lisa Kirkman, who had to fight the United States government to get her own child back. That was actually kidnapped and stolen from her. And pain is pain, and whether it happened 2 years ago or 2 minutes ago, pain is pain, and people can learn from that. And these are stories on this network that never should be forgotten from this war. These are war stories that you're listening to. They're not just casual conversations that are being discussed in passing. Correct?
Correct. That's right. And that's all stuff that will be new. Maybe not new to you and me, but it'll be new to somebody else who's just coming along, because there are people that are, that more people are getting educated, especially as more of it gets into the mainstream news. And, it won't matter whether it's something that's older or something that's new. There's still information to be, learned, and people can get educated from it.
Well,
So.
and I have a hunch, too, that from this point forward, all of our hosts are thinking differently as they put together their programming. Up until now, because we were live and most people were under the impression that you either heard us now or you didn't, or you either heard us now or you went and listened to us in our archive, or you didn't hear us, just spoke in that particular presence, the current tense, where I think now when our hosts put together programming, they'll be doing more long interviews. They'll be doing content that has a longer shelf life as well.
Yes, that's right. That's right. And, even though we plan beforehand, it's, always good where you can, even afterwards, after the show has been recorded, it also allows time for us to help promote that show for when it comes to be aired, where we can mention things that what we're gonna be discussing in the program, and help create interest to draw people into listening.
Well, and then another problem too is Sasha, my business partner, and I were actually becoming the producers of about 50 different shows, which is great, but we need money to produce shows, and while we were busy producing everybody's shows and running everybody's board and dropping in everybody's music and ads and making sure all your guests and hosts were heard on Skype and all the tools were working right and all the sound was just groovy, we couldn't actually be out knocking on doors and asking people if you want to support the network and advertise.
Correct. And how is that looking down the road here?
Well, I don't know. We're just now, at this point, starting to free ourselves. I just finished putting together the first week of programming about 4 days ago just to see how it would run and do a test run to see if we could actually pull it off. And sure enough, we pulled it off. So we're going to be able, if you can do it for 1 week, you can do it for 52 weeks. That's
correct. So you foresee that this is obviously going to free you up to allow you to pick up the phone, knock on some doors, and
yes. And create more of my own shows. I thought I used to do the Time for Hemp music broadcast, but I had no time for that. I'm going to have time for that again, I think. I had to stop booking my own shows. Marilyn, Matthew, and Al Byrne were nice enough to always book Mondays for me, and Leap, the people at Leap were always gracious enough to book every other Wednesday for my show. And Michael Krawitz is just an amazing activist and has a long list of friends and has been kind enough to book the Friday shows. And I have been negligent in doing all the activities required for my own broadcast. And that has caused my own show to suffer a little, I think. There's been changes at the network I wanted to implement in the station IDs. There's been new PSAs I've been wanting to put together. There's a handful of news shows that I think would be good. Like we put together last year the 2013 Global Hemp Summit, which kicking off our 24-hour-a-day, 7-day-a-week run this Sunday. We are reprising this Sunday and the next 2 Sundays afterwards. So there's a lot of things that I've been wanting to do that I'll be able to start doing once again. And yes, and then one of those is to find new advertisers. I want to get the network expanding into Roku. I want to get it to expand into other platforms as well, because all of our hosts are just very hardworking and diligent and very well spoken, and each deserves the opportunity to be heard by as large of an audience as I can pull together for them. So to me, that's my job, is to make certain that the content is good and I go find the audience while my hosts stay focused on bringing together the best show they can do each week. Yeah,
that and obviously you haven't been able to do that stuff because you've been behind the computer doing other things. And this is nothing but a positive move, because it's gonna obviously make things better for everybody, for you and the network and all the hosts and joint hosts, and I'm sure it's going to be very interesting to watch, especially now that you're live streaming and running nonstop. Because before, with the having to refresh after each program, and there would be obviously you have to be a bit of delay in between each program by the time the board operator hangs up and then collects the next people together and gets the next program on. So now they just run right through, and I know I've been listening to it on my cell phone, and it's been great because it just goes in one program and the next program, and it's allowed me an opportunity to hear programs that I haven't heard. Well, including because you've got, we're not just English, we're also a multi-language network.
Oh, yeah, that's true. And a lot of people are blind to that. You're right. To all of a sudden, while they're working on the car or they're cooking up some medical marijuana brownies in the kitchen, and the programming changes from TJ the DJ to Mike Bafari and Morgiana Sativa broadcasting out of Chile, all in Spanish. Or we got the activists coming on to them from Paris, France, all in French. And soon they'll be hearing Japanese, too, where now that we're organized. So, yeah, it is. It's one of the things that I've enjoyed, too, being able to put different programming on at different times of day and night so that each of those shows has the opportunity of finding a new audience still.
Yes. Yeah, I was actually I was delivering the news irons, and I had the headphones on, and I was listening to it as I was walking downtown Peterborough. And all of a sudden, it was, oh, hey, on here, this is a different language. So then I'd listen to it to try to pick out the words that I could understand.
Which oftentimes is usually only marijuana, cannabis.
Time for hemp.
So
it's an opportunity to be able to try to hear that stuff. They've also got music and things in their own language as well.
And I think it makes it easier for people to share our network because I've had people go to the website first and go, what do you mean you're a radio station? What do you mean you're a radio station? I went there, I didn't hear anything, or I had to refresh my browser, and it's like, no, because we've always had this opportunity to do the 24/7, but you can't broadcast live 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, or at least you can't do it without an amazing staff of people, which we don't have right now due to the lack of funding. And the only other way to take advantage of that is to, do pre-recorded shows. And I thought originally that it was so unique doing the shows live, and it gave our programming a different edge. Because when it's live, anything can go wrong.
Telling me.
And it usually does. But then that's the other benefit to having it pre-recorded, because all the things that do go wrong, we take care of in post-op. And you're right. This way, your show starts at 6 o'clock every Monday and Wednesday. And,
right.
my show starts right at 10 o'clock every Monday through Friday in the mornings.
Now,
there is no
drop
delay.
calls can be, cleaned up.
Yeah. So we can get better broadcasting, better material to our audience, which I think is also a good thing. Yeah, exactly. And I know yesterday when I was at the store in Peterborough, Pipe Dreams, I mentioned to him about the nonstop 24/7. So he has a radio playing in the store, listening to a local radio station. So what does he do? He grabs his smartphone. He goes to the Time for Hemp website, gets it playing, and plugs it into his headphone jack, and plays it in the store. Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Well, yeah, thank you.
So it makes it easier even to reach more and more ears with the truth and the letting people know how they can help end prohibition and why it's so important. Well, and our format's a little different too. You'll discover as you listen in. For those of you who are looking for the time to go get your coffee or to roll up your joint or to clean your pipe and come back, at the end of every hour will be the 4 minutes of network broadcasting advertising, and the first 2 minutes of each program will be network advertising. And then what happens between the opening and the closing, that 54 minutes, will be strictly up to all the hosts. And so there might be less advertising in the programming that you're listening to. And if you enjoy our sponsors, you know when to listen to the network to find out when to tune in, to find out who to support, to say thank you for helping us all take time for hemp.
Serious Seeds is your source for quality cannabis and sativa seeds. Serious Seeds are the creators of legendary strains like AK-47, Bubblegum, Chronic, Cali Mist, and White Russian. The AK-47 is probably the most awarded strain on the planet. The high THC content of AK-47 makes it the perfect medical strain for patients seeking quick pain relief. Cali Mist is an almost pure sativa. Female medical cannabis patients have reported that this strain helps relieve menstrual cramps. Serious Seeds just acquired another Dutch high-quality seed bank, Magus Genetics. From now on, Serious Seeds can offer you even more award-winning strains. The fine folks at Serious Seeds strive to breed the best cannabis genetics that they can find, so patients can rely on the effectiveness of their medicine. Go to SeriousSeeds.com to grow your medicine. That site again is SeriousSeeds.com.
Well, I once had a bowl, good green reefer, a big fat don't be much, much sweeter. Mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Well, mighty don't hide it. Mighty don't hide it. Well, mighty don't hide it. Fire up right now.
Yeah, baby, fire up right now. Be loud, be proud, come out of the closet and let the world know how important it is to take time for hemp. And I wasn't kidding when I said you might discover that your favorite programming has less advertising, and that's just the deal, you know. I'm not going to be playing your ad unless you pay to have it on the show, and I'm not going to be playing your ad unless you pay to have it on the network, because I think what's more valuable to me is my audience, and more valuable to my audience is the information that our host and their guests can bring to you. So, from my point of view, our time is of tremendous value, and you'll either appreciate it and pay for it, or we'll use it for broadcasting the information about the need to end the prohibition. Correct, Al?
Correct. Exactly. I was thinking the same thing. If people don't want to pay for that time, then we will use that time to educate people.
Exactly, because it's so important that we get the truth to every ear on the planet, because my mama always told me truth will always conquer lies, love will always conquer hate, and knowledge will always conquer ignorance.
Well, your mother was smart. She's got that one right. You know, they say knowledge is power.
And the knowledge that is being passed to your parliament, is it helping? What's going on there on the front there in Canada?
Well, obviously, with the results of that episode read poll showing almost 71% of the people were not in favor of the existing cannabis laws. Hopefully, the government will be listening. But while they say that they are listening to Canadians, many of us feel that they are listening to a select few Canadians and doing what they think is right, and not what people here in the country want. And if they keep going on that route, they're going to find themselves gone in 2015. And it's more than just the marijuana laws that are wrong with the government. So myself personally, I'd like to see a change anyway. So, but overall, things are going along. I don't know of anybody who's serving any mandatory minimum sentence, but I could be wrong. I don't hear all the news. I know last on CBC when this poll was released that they had some of the MPs were on the political shows, and it was the conservative spokesperson was saying that, that poll shows that Justin Trudeau is wrong in his stance. And people are saying, well, hang on here. 71% of the people are saying you're wrong and you're spinning this saying that Trudeau is wrong. And I think where they're going with that is when you break down the numbers between legalization and decriminalization, because Justin is talking about legalization, that the numbers get a little closer, okay? But the numbers for legalization are still greater than the numbers for decriminalization. So the numbers are even still greater. So, they're just trying to spin it one way, but people aren't stupid. And when you look at the other end of the poll, there's only 25% of the people who support what they're doing, so they're completely wrong. And then you had the liberal person who was on there, and he was talking about the how it's a smart approach to it, and showing what's going on down in the U.S. with Colorado, and how the laws hasn't created a problem. They've been able to prove that the youth are not getting the cannabis from the stores, because they did send out inspectors try to trip up the stores, and they found that they could get booze, but they couldn't get any cannabis. So they are watching what's going down in the U.S. and as well as other countries. And the NDP were on there stating that they've always been for non-punitive adult policy where adults weren't charged with anything. But yet I've heard their leader say that we need more studies. And quite frankly, Canada has paid for two major studies, one in the early 70s, the Ledane Commission, and one in 2002 by conservative Senator Claude Nolan and his group did the Senate report on cannabis, and both of them were very supportive of moving forward in this and legalization. So let's hope they can we'll get things changed.
I need to jump in here. We are down to actually the last 2 minutes of the broadcast. You want to give a shout out to anybody or anything that you think is important coming up?
Well, I want to throw a shout out to throw a shout out to the Pace Radio Show and all the joint hosts for everything that they do in order to make the show what it is. It's it's time. It's not just something that they take lightly. It's something that they take very seriously. And I want to throw a shout out to all of them, and that's Owen Smith, Debbie Stoltz-Giffen, Keith Fagan, Stephen Ferrigno, and Chantel Ario. All of them are doing a great time and a great thing, and we're going to keep bringing that to the network.
And those of you who are listening, I certainly hope you are appreciating the new format where you are able to just hit the play button once and walk away, hit play and walk away, and enjoy all day the need to let the world know how important it is to take time for hemp, because we are trying to let the world find an easy way to get the truth. Well, with that said, we want you to know the other aspect about our network is that it's a little bit like your favorite joint. We are always best when shared with friends. And remember, the next time you hear me, you'll know that it's time for hemp.
Look at all that money, yeah, the money that they spend. Take another look and spend some time for him. Don't cut trees for paper, 'cause it hurts the environment. Stop deforestation, yes, it's time for him. Whoa, an acre of hemp makes 20 bales of oil. No need for pesticides to poison all our soil. People got no food, they got no clothes, they got no rent. Well, time for hemp! Yeah!
Prince of Wales is wealth and fame, great big ears and a big long name. But our Mark Emery, he takes the spot. The whole world knows he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy he's not, he gives it all he's got. he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot. Mark Emery and Michelle Rainey, and Greg Williams makes Vancouver 3. We want to help them with all we got. The whole world knows he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot. We need someone to fill the slot, fight the cause with all they got. We found someone, so thanks a lot. The whole world knows he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot. Mark Emery may go down south. He's got a brain and he uses his mouth. A little loud, so he got caught. The whole world knows he's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. Now shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot. He's the Prince of Pot. I'm telling you now. He's the Prince of Pot. Better believe me when I say, no shy, he's not. He gives it all he's got. He's the Prince of Pot.
He's the Prince of Pot.
Right.
We live in dangerous times, led by dangerous minds, contemplating dangerous crimes. Just a man born in toil and struggle, feeding a youth the boggle. Come! All the youths them blazing, smoking sweets in Sevilla, and I the midst of calamity. They get to use them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yappy know them smoking, talking, hoping that the strife may cease. Yeah, now pass a gun I smoking, just show them what them not go search for. Long time you wait, this ain't go fit touch this. Hear the veterans and pound the rhythm and rush this. Come, me have to tell you about this bad man business. Then I can leave the people thinking something's all crisp. You might be taking this all elementary. Living on the earth, our love should be complimentary. And the way they see the 21st century, things them getting baddest in a yard. Whoa! Shot a clap, you hear this all over G-Town. Police come carry when the bodies all touch ground. Now roam the streets when all the parties them come round. Best be humble or it's as real you meet. Don't wonder why we roll it up, light it up and get tired. I never know the hour that one end them life. So while the fighting and the war is just to go on, we blaze the earth from the steel down. Now come again. All the youths them blazing, smoking sweets in Sevilla, and I the midst of calamity. They get to use them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yappy know them smoking, talking, hoping that the strife may cease. Yeah, now pass a gun I smoking, just show them what them not go search for. Man kill him wife while she stay with picnic. Another man them lick a shot at a break up on the freeway. Road rage that be the corporate newsman say get a flag they get to use for selling little bit bomba, yeah. What them be doing them na money big grocery. Man about the bread jump on the block for the street money. Now see no smart the smuggler business na gameplay. They hate them not care about we. That's why them say all the youths them blazing, smoking sweets in Sevilla, and I the midst of calamity. They get to use them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yappy know them smoking, talking, hoping that the strife may cease. Yeah, now pass a gun I smoking, just show them what them not go search for. So much trouble in the world, so we go spark a meditation. Ease we mind on all the hate and separation. Life alone take all we got just to live. Happy save a little bit, feel like me split. You hear me say? Trouble, trouble, we go spark a meditation. Ease we mind on all the hate and separation. Life alone take all we got just to live. Happy save a little bit, feel like me split. Now come again. All the youths them blazing, smoking sweets in Sevilla, and I the midst of calamity. They get to use them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yappy know them smoking, talking, ghetto youth them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yeah, if you know them smoking, talking, open that the strife may cease. Yeah, now pass the gun, I smoking, just show them what them not go search for. All the youths them blazing, smoking sweet sesame, in the midst of calamity. The ghetto youths them blazing, blazing on the worldwide state of emergency. Yeah, if you know them smoking, talking, open that the strife may cease. Yeah, now pass the gun, I smoking, just show them what them not